Good day, strategy gamers, and welcome back to episode 27 of our Let's Play series, War in the East 2, Stalingrad to Berlin. In this episode, we're going to be going through the rest of our ground movement phase of turn 14, and we're also going to be looking at a few more tips and tricks, mechanics for us to review that we don't normally in most episodes. And then we'll close out by ending the turn and doing a quick review of the end of turn summary. In the previous episode, we successfully moved through our air execution phase, which has been painfully easy due to the non-stop blizzard-like conditions in Russia. And then we also did the first half of the ground movement phase, moving from Leningrad down to Orel along our front lines, executing all of our ground movement phases. And we had quite a bit of success throughout that journey. So I'm optimistic now to see how the rest of the turn plays out, especially as we've had such great progress down by Rostov, and we can start focusing on making our way towards Stalino and further south towards Odessa in the Ukraine. Since we left off here in Orel, we're going to keep going just as we have. One of the first things we're going to do is just see if there's any battles we need to recap from the previous turn along this front. And I'm not seeing any, so that should make it rather quick and easy for us. All of the forces here are pretty well dug in. Along this line, there might be some opportunity on one or two of these where it'd be not quite 2-to-1, but close, where we could maybe say take these two units and push through here. But I'm not sure it really aligns with what our objectives are, because we're just going to be cutting across and putting pressure behind them in this pocket, when already, because of our movement of the Moscow defense unit down here, we should be having quite a bit of success as is. So I don't know that it's going to be necessary. So we'll continue to hold the line with these units, and since they do have a little bit of fatigue still left over, it should help them recover. Down here, though, I'm curious if there's not an opportunity to try to put pressure, because this actually starts getting us towards Kursk. So, for example, right here we have 8-to-5, but they have fortification level of 3, so we're probably not going to be able to make it. Our best bet would be to say if we took, say, the 74th Rifle Division and actually tried to take them off the line, and maybe we could see if we couldn't bring in something stronger like this Guards Cavalry Corps. So that would put us at 15 in terms of strength. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to move this Rifle Division back up here. And then we're going to take the 6 guards and move them down. Our defensive value here is now at 7.8, which should be enough to hold out against any type of counterattack from these two hexes. Now we have a total combat value of 14 here in this hex, and we're going to go ahead and try to push through. The greatest challenge we're going to face is it's almost 3-to-1, but they have fortification level of 3. So that's probably where it's going to be a tough slog because of their fortification level. But let's give it a try anyways. And we successfully pushed them back. It also reduced their fortification level from 3 to 0, which should really help us now as we look at seeing how can we further advance behind their lines. I think we'll take this 307th Rifle Division, and I was hoping maybe we could move it down into that pocket we'd created, but it doesn't look like we have enough movement points to do so. So we're going to have to wait another turn there. But now anything they bring up to reinforce this hex should be a little easier to deal with now that there's no fortification level. And with any luck, that can begin a bit of a breakout force behind their lines. Continuing further along here, we've got some units that are getting a little worn. Supply isn't great on some of these. We're actually going to build up these 2 brigades to just get them back to a divisional level. There we go. And here this would be 10-to-6, so not quite good enough. Not enough here either, so this is going to stay as is. We do have this tank corps though. So let's make sure though we don't want to use the tank corps somewhere else along the line, right? So where is it going to be most impactful for us to break through? Probably right here. So what if... So if we move you up 1, and let's now take all of you to attack. So So it's 3-1. They retreat it. Now I think we're going to move this tank corps even further up. And if we take these rifle divisions and move them up to help reinforce this line. If we attack here, we don't quite have enough, so we need to let these guys recoup a little bit. Fatigue did go up to 50 on that tank corps, so that makes it a little tough for us. I want to check to see if we have a supply depot here. We do, but I wonder if it's not more beneficial to put our HQ units a little closer to the front now in this supply depot. So we're going to move both of these guys. Well, actually, you're the front, so I'm going to leave you right where you are now that I look at that. So that's fine. That HQ unit, you're far from where we need to be anyways. Since you have units down here, we can't move you back there, so that's fine. Nothing to worry about there. Continuing to go down the line here. Right here we would find ourselves with 9-6, so not really enough to break through or fight there. So we're going to leave these as is. Yeah, and some of you have just a little bit of a tough supply situation, but I think it's going to be okay. Right here, this is certainly an area though where I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to say this rifle division. Let's just have you attack. We'll take both of you and have you both attack. So they retreat it. So another success there. So I think we're going to start finding some areas where along the front we'll pick and choose where we're going to break through a little. So we don't have enough to move through there yet. And here we'd find ourselves with 16-12, so we're not quite capable of getting through there. If we took the 180th rifle down, though, and then if we moved this rifle division over, so that adds 3 plus 4, so that adds 7. So then we're at 23-12, not quite 2-1. So we're going to leave the front line just as it stands today, especially since they have this Romanian armored division over here. It's nothing quite like having a German panzer division along the front, but it's still something to be wary of. So I think we're going to be just okay here. What we might actually do is move now, because then we're going to be facing counterattack here with combat value of 20, and there's nothing to fortify us. There's no fortification level there, so we're going to stay as is. I know we've had hopes and aspirations of breaking through this line right here, because we see that if we had this rail line going south, it really helps give us another lane of supply down here to Rostov that is going to be even more efficient probably than the Stalingrad front. But we just haven't had the forces quite yet to be able to push through all the way. I think it's just a matter of us continuing to break through in strategic locations to put the pressure on. So on that note, here we can get to 8, but these guys are already at 50 fatigue. Not that stack, but this stack's at 50 fatigue, which feels pretty high. This rifle division's at 55. So for some of these units, we're going to let them sit right where they are. But I think we can probably take, for example, here and press an advantage against this unit by taking support from here, where we have the 6th and 4th Guards Rifle Corps. So we're going to take all of these and do an attack. It's plenty in terms of odds. So they retreated. We took almost no losses, so that's good. And now we're going to move this entire stack. Are we going to move that stack up? I don't know if we want to expose it to the Großdeutschland Motorized Division. So I think what we're going to do is, so if we leave the 4th Guards right where they are, it's a defensive value of 19. If you combine their entire stacks here, they're looking at having 25. So they don't even have 2-1 if we leave just this one 4th Guards here. but we don't have enough movement points to move this up. Yeah, I think we are going to press ahead by moving into this hex. Defensive value now is about 7. So it's about 2 to 1, so they don't even have 3 to 1. So I'm feeling okay about that. We don't have enough movement to actually get over there. Very well. Continuing along, we see that they've actually started to evac some of these hexes. So we're going to take this entire stack and move them right up here. That's defensive value of around a 5 versus an attack of 8 and 13, 21. So we are pretty outnumbered here. So I think we're going to take this... Oh, the rifle corps has 0 if we move there. So we're going to take this 2nd Guards tank corps and move them up. And we're going to take this 1st Guards right here. And yeah, let's take this 278th right there. Okay. We're just going to start kind of putting the pressure on these guys. Yeah, this is looking good. So we're continuing our advance. I have units here that are going to be in the next turn or two moving up to help. So I think we're just going to move you straight across there. You will be able to do the same. So let's move you up there. Yeah, so this now gives us defensive value of about 8 versus their 12. We're fine. We're going to move you up. Okay. I'd really like to take that hex, but we don't have enough movement to do so. That's not a huge deal. We're also going to move up our artillery unit here. We're just going to remember to put them into reserve to try to not take up too much supply. This HQ unit I really need to move up. I would love to have it in a town or on a depot or something like that, but the fact is we are too stretched along the line here. Now we had some opportunity where we kind of skipped over because we have this stack of 25 here. I wonder if we take these guys, that's 2 to 1. We take you here, it's even better than 2 to 1. So would we rather attack the Großdeutschland motorized division? And actually it looks like this is split up into where there's a brigade here and here. And here. Yep, so those are the 3 elements of the Großdeutschland motorized division. I think I would rather push through here. Let's take a look at this. Guess it doesn't matter a ton, so maybe it's better off that I go where I have better odds. Oh. Let's see if we can't help these guys out at all. So this 14th Rifle Corps. Let's see about attaching the 16th Tank Brigade. And then let's also attach the I think we're going to attach the 1249th Anti-Tank Regiment and the 1250th. And that was part of the 3rd Guards Army, and I think all of these are part of the 3rd Guards Army. Let's just see. There's not something worth assigning here too. Also going to attach you and the 8th Guards Tank Brigade. Okay, so let's now see. Yeah, it is notably better than 2 to 1. Let's give it a try. They both retreated. Excellent news. We lost a lot of armor, but we eliminated pretty much all of their assets and armor. Good, so we've pushed them out of there. That's excellent news. That's going to make it a lot easier now in the next turn to put pressure on this unit and this unit, because now they truly are quite isolated. If everything stayed the exact same going into our next turn, we'd have 52 versus their 13 here in this hex, so they have to retreat, which then means we might be able to move up and again get about 21 to 17, which is just as is. Maybe it gets even better for us. So things are looking good here. I'm pretty happy with how this entire line is turning out, and I think we're going to be pretty close, right? So we've now taken the entire southern portion of this rail line. All that's left are these 1, 2, call it 8 hexes right here that we need to push through. And I don't think that will take too long, but I think it'll be a very notable victory for us once we accomplish that. This HQ unit we need to move up as well a little bit. Again, would love to have them in a better position here. And actually what we need to do is some of you we need to attach to the second guards, because the third guards is 42 out of 28 in command points. This one's just 16 out of 28, so we're going to attach you to the second guards. And the artillery will do the same. And let's see what we can take from this stack. Let's take all of you to the second guards. Alright, so now we have 34 to 28, which is much better. And then 24 to 28, so we can still take another couple. So I think we're going to take this stack here. Well, we're just going to take the rifle corps, actually. So now it's 30 to 28, 28 to 28. Okay. Down here we have you part of the second guards. I actually think I'm going to reposition you up north. You do have enough to get here. Yeah, because I need to get you closer to the actual army you're part of, and I don't know that I want to reallocate you. So let's move you right up here. Your defensive value is 8.9. Should be enough to hold out against whatever they've got. Again, we don't have enough movement points to get into that hex. It happens. Now, though, now we need to look at getting some reinforcements up here to help with this unit. Yeah, it's a bit of an issue. But thankfully, we have the 44th Army on the way. So we're going to take these 2 rifle divisions and move them up. And that still might not be enough. So those 2 rifle divisions plus the guard tanks corps that was already there puts us at about 8, which is 3 to 1 just against that stack, much less the units that are also next to us here. Okay. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep pushing here. Yep, so here we have 15 against, well, pretty much 45. So that kind of sucks. So let's move you up to help. And that adds another 3.3, so it helps. We need to look at what we can get here. Let's add the 60th Anti-Tank Rifle Battalion. And let's look what else we can get here from the 44th Army. We're going to add the Anti-Tank Regiment here. We're going to move up our HQ unit. Move up the rest of these stacks that are part of the 44th Army. And their supply is just horrible right now. I wonder... Yeah, supply priorities 3 on these 2. I think we're gonna... It's fine, actually. I'm gonna move you guys all up here. So we have pushed ourselves into a bit of a precarious position with this hex and this hex right here. So if they counterattack, they could theoretically win in both of these hexes. But what we've done is we've, in a sense, forced them to choose. Are they going to beat back this hex or this hex? And the reason I say that is it's going to be very tough for them to have overwhelming victories in either of these unless they apply this stack, the 27th Panzer mainly, to the attack. So, for example, right here, we have ourselves at 18 defensive value, right? Let's just round up to 20 to make this math easier. If they don't use the 27th Panzer, it means they're attacking with an offensive value of 30 versus our 20. Not even 2-to-1 odds, right? If they toss in the 27th Panzer, then it's 20-45, so it's about 2-to-1, a little better odds than that for them, okay? I'm betting they push back right here, though, as this is where they're strongest. They have, what is this, 46 versus our, oh god, I even hate looking at this. So that's 5. Just round up to 9. Not nearly enough is the brutal truth. Right here, actually we're even worse right there. There we're just at 8 versus their 37. What have I done? What have I done? So we don't have enough movement to get these guys up here. I don't think we have anything here that will have enough movement. Yeah, okay. So we're going to take some losses here, but it was all in the name of being aggressive and trying to see how far we could push the Rostov line. There is a chance that they retreat once they see how stretched they're getting, because an example I would give is it looks like we're about to encircle these units that are left here in Rostov, and they may say, you know what, Stalino is not protected enough from this mass that's near Rostov, so they might reallocate some of them, but I doubt it. I think they're going to attack here and here, get some decisive victories, bit of a morale boost, etc. So that's unfortunate, but again, we've had some great progress. Just even look at the shading on these hexes, of all these hexes that we've been able to take. Not that this is a matte painting game by any stretch of the imagination, but we've had success here building out this front line. So I think what we can do, it's actually, yeah, you have 7. Is it worthwhile taking the 4/22nd and moving you back, moving you up? Did that help at all? Not really. Not really. Okay. Yeah, so let's keep moving up elements of the 57th Army here. Actually, that looks like that was the last of them. The 51st Army is the one that's going to build out our front right here. So let's take you, move you up here. Move you here. Keep on going here. Yes, we're getting these guys deployed all along here. A lot of ways. Yeah, we're just going to have 3 stacks all stretched out here. We will have you go on the southern side of this advance. Yeah, and we haven't run into anything. Look at that. So this might be free running all the way to Stalino again, kind of like what we've had. In the interest of getting good intel with this unit, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move them right here. Okay, and yeah, there's nothing over there. And then I need to move my HQ unit a little closer, make sure we all stay in range. You're actually okay there, I suppose. So now, let's do this. Let's move you here. Okay, so there are forces here. Defense value of 6. That's plenty to hold out there. Let the encirclement begin. Move you down. You down. And the 65th Army HQ, we're going to now move up here. Get one more that's part of the 65th Army. I think we'll have you go there. Oh, no, we have even more of the 65th Army, excuse me. So yeah, I guess let the encirclement continue. Same thing here, set you to reserve. I'm actually going to put you on the HQ unit. Alright, so that's essentially 7.5, so they have better than 2 to 1, but not much more than that. Okay. And here we have 2 rifle brigades. We're actually going to build you up to a rifle division. I think here we need to want to see if we don't have anything capable of... We have a bit of a map glitch there in terms of the graphics. Let's see if this helps it. Sometimes that does. Yeah, okay. Is it worth maybe exhausting the units just to get in behind them like this? I don't know. Probably not. Really kind of is frustrating to me that we don't have anything that can take this hex right here. Because what I worry is that they can still escape by going down here and out. I would really like just something that can sit here. We do have zone of control, which should prevent them from having enough movement points to do so. But then we're going to be chasing them. Really, we just need to keep them encircled here. Okay. Well, let's take these army elements we have, like the 28th Army. What we're going to do with the 28th Army is we're actually going to move them up here to help with the push on Stalingrad, I think. Yes, we're going to move the 28th Army up here. You are also part of the 28th Army, so you can come right here. Good stuff. And then you should be the last stack of the 28th Army. And you are. You can go right there. Okay. Good progress. Good progress. Here we have the 58th Army. Again, I think I need to move you north here. Yeah, let's move you north to help up here. I think this makes sense. So the 58th Army is going to come in and try to help with this pocket where they're about to break through. They're pretty worn down and exhausted, but they're going to come up and help. And then you are also part of the 58th Army, so you can make it up here. Good, good, good. All right. 18th Army. Wait, 28th Army. Why do I feel like you belong with another group? Yeah, you're up here. You can make it. Bobby, you can do it. 4th Guards Cavalry Corps, I'm sorry, but you're going to be a sacrifice here. Okay. We have taken that hex. Do we have anything else that can get there now? Who can we get there to help those brave souls? don't know there's going to be anyone. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. But still, that's fantastic news. Yeah, okay. Defensive value of... Oh, wow. I did not expect that. They're stuck. You're not sacrificial. You have a defensive value of 40. You are going to be just fine. Let's see actually how you're sitting. Yeah, you are not bad. Wow. What a win. I'm so glad I saw those guys there. Okay. So that then means these 3 infantry divisions will be cut off. Again, I wonder... You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm going to take... Actually, I guess I'll only take you 2. I'm going to exhaust you, and I'm going to move you here behind them to help with the encirclement. And then I'm going to move you 2 up. It's actually kind of a laughable defense that we have there with some of these units. But it will have to do. So we're going to take the 9th Army and move you over there. 9th Army again over here. Here we have elements of different armies like the 37th. Yes, I think we'll take you there. Okay. You're also part of the 37th. So what we need to do now is actually occupy this hex right here. And we're going to do this with the 18th Army. Okay, so they are well and done, truly encircled. And we even have units in reserve here that can help out. So we're going to give them another turn or 2 to sit there and think about what they've done. And then because we are ending the turn with the city encircled, it then means if we maintain that perimeter going into the following turn, any units that are destroyed here surrender, right? And they don't go back into the reserve pool of the Germans. And these are some serious units that they've gotten here. I don't mean serious in terms of armaments, but just in size. These are 3 full infantry divisions. These are not half-baked. So this is good stuff that we got going on right here. We've got the 47th Army. We've got a couple of units protecting these piers and ports, which I'm still okay with there. I think we need to... Yeah, and look at this advance we have going on Stalino. I don't know they're going to be able to contain us. I think the only way they can contain us if they allocate some of these units and make a smaller perimeter, but then we just end up encircling Stalino. I am really glad I am not the German player right now in this scenario, because I do not know what I would do. This is a tough situation. Interesting. So let's go down here and look a little bit more at what we have happening with the Crimea, right? So we've got the 10th Guards. We're going to move you up here. The 3rd Rifle. Move you here. And right here we have the 11th Guards. Have you go there. And the 11th Rifle Corps. I'm going to go to this amphib unit. And if we did amphibious transport mode, so I wonder, do we need to control this hex to do an amphibious transport into the Sea of Azov? Shoot. Know what I think we actually need? Is I think we need these guys in this hex. Yes, I think that's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this 30th Rifle Division off that hex. So now it's just the HQ that's left. Move up the 11th Rifle Corps. Shoot. Yeah, so I have to do sea transport of you there. Okay. And 249-201 is still this hex right here. Good. Do I need to disembark you? Doesn't look like it. Alright. Now if we did amphibious transport mode, yep, now we could go over here. Okay. I think we're figuring that out. That's good stuff. All in all, though, we're going to have to wait a couple more turns here. Actually going to move you off. So what we're going to do is with the 10th Guards, with the 11th, and maybe the 3rd Rifle Corps, we're going to attack, I think. Okay, good stuff. Well, we're over here in the Caucasus region. I think what we're going to do is also go through our rail repair, right? We're just going to go through and continue repairing this rail line all the way west, right? Alright, so now that one is exhausted. You two keep doing something, I guess. I guess you're repairing one a turn. Fine, fair enough. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we get to Stalingrad. So what I had talked about in the previous 2 episodes was, do we take a couple of armies from Stalingrad and do we say, are they better served over here by Orel? And then we also asked ourselves, would they be more useful over here in the push towards Idritsa, right? And I've thought about that a lot, and I think what we are going to do is to move a couple of the armies over here to this front to help with the push on Riga. Especially now that we've done the ground decisions south by Rostov, I am more and more convinced that our southern front is proving to be a spectacular success. Right? I'm very I am very, very happy with how this is all going. Right? This is all fantastic. But still, we're going to have some of the armies go south to help, and then we're going to take a couple and move them over towards the push on Idritsa. But first, we're going to go ahead and do some rail repair where we are able to. And to do that, I'm going to take the tiles off there. So we have these 3 that are damaged. So we need to get 1 unit out of each of these. And move you there, move you there. There's nothing scientific about this, just trying to, as quickly as possible, repair these railroads. Right. So now those are all repaired. Good. Okay. And then going to have you continue on over here to, in the following turns, continue repairing these railroads south. You were a little ahead of the game. You got out of the cluster faster than everyone else. Yep, so you keep on repairing. This is so useful. Now up here, I shouldn't have taken you off the rail line. I could have kept you on. Where is it going to be more I think it's probably going to be better to have you go down this route. Because this line here towards the east, right, is going to connect further into all of this that we have so much opportunity to repair. Whereas I think the one that we have going this way should probably be satisfactory to repair up to about here. Then it can start working north. That's kind of how I'm looking at that situation. Okay. So now we sit here and we go, okay, well, which armies go where? And I'm thinking that the 5th Tank Army is a great option to move over towards the push on Adrizia. But we are quite a bit over our command limit. But I've got a bit of a surprise for our feature we're going to cover today that hopefully will help with that. We might take like the rifle divisions though and maybe have them move to the 4th Guards. Is that you up here? Where are the 4th Guards? There you are. Yeah, maybe not. Let's do it this way. Which of these HQ units have room? Okay. So the 66 Army, I'm going to take this rifle division and assign you to the 66 Army. And you know, until now I did not even feel like a fool sometimes when I find these things. I did not even notice that here you have how many are assigned and what's the maximum. That would be so useful to just have had previously. This rifle division, we're also going to do the same thing, where we're going to assign you to the 66 Army. Okay. And you, rifle division, we will assign you to... Which one makes the most sense here? 64th Army, probably. Yep. So now when we look at the 5th Tank Army, we're still a little over. Okay. Well, what else can we get rid of here? 47th Guards. Yeah, you can go to the 64th Army. Okay. Who else do we have as part of the 5th Tank Army? Guards Cavalry Corps. I'm kind of okay having the cavalry there with us. Let's have this 50th Guards. Let's switch you over. Let's have you go. It's going to put them over, but I'm going to assign you to the 64th Army. So now our 5th Tank Army is 13 out of 14. Yeah, that works out. Now all these guys are pretty balanced too. Okay, so let's get you in one stack. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to move you out of the city here onto the rail line. And then in the next turn or two, I'll embark all of you on the train to continue your travels. Yep, you go there. Cavalry can go there. First Tank Corps can go up here. So it actually looks like that Tank Corps might have gotten split. Shoot, did I move both of you? I did, didn't I? Damn it. Okay. So 5th Tank Army. That is the 5th Tank Army. Okay. Now what's the 2nd Army we're going to bring with us? I'm thinking maybe the 4th Guards. So let's look what they have. So they have these rifle divisions, this Tank Corps. What else is available here? 66 Army. What do you have? Bunch of rifle divisions. Not so sure about that. Over here, the 62nd Army. You're a bigger one. You have a whole bunch of rifles. And down here, 64th Army. Rifle Corps, some naval rifle brigades. I'm kind of leaning towards the 4th Guards Army. Yeah. I think we're going to have the 4th Guards Army. They don't have the greatest record, though. 11 wins, 9 losses. How do we compare that to the 5th Tank Army? 19 wins, 14 losses. These guys had a fair number of losses because of the work they were doing on the, on Stalingrad. So, yep, so let's start moving the 4th Guards Army up here, getting them ready to embark on the railroad. And it's probably best that we do get all of these guys on the railroad next turn, as that's going to help. Before we have freight trying to get down to Rostov, we're going to have these guys moved. And you know, the central front, I really think I need to probably move this HQ unit down a little bit more centrally, if that makes sense. So I'm going to move you over here. Okay. Going to keep going with the 4th Guards Army. So you can go up there. You're part of the 4th Guards. You can come up here. You guys were spread all over the place. Which makes sense. I mean, it was just throw every man that we could against that wall that was surrounding Stalingrad. Ah, not going to be able to make it that far up there, are you? Okay, we'll have you go here. Tank Corps can make it there. I think we have one more unit down here. The 214th Rifle Division. You can go up there. So that should now take care of the 4th Guards Army. Yes. Looks like it does. Good news. Good news indeed. So now what that means is all of these other armies, we're going to get in a position to start heading south. So I think the 66th Army, we're going to plug in right about here. Okay? So we're going to move the HQ unit all the way up here. And then maybe that will help us organize ourselves as we move each of the dependent units all the way down. So 66th Army needs to get down here to its HQ. That's how we're going about this. Again, these guys are spread all over, aren't they? But that's okay. 66th Army. And there's that rifle division. You can come up here. Right here, the 299th. Just going to keep these in as orderly stacks as possible. You are part of the 66, so we will move you here. A lot of logistics around Stalingrad here. And this is taking a while, so we're going to have to probably cut short a mechanic or two here towards the end of the episode, which is okay. Now we have the 62nd Army. And I think... Here's what I'm tempted to do. I'm tempted to throw the 62nd Army kind of in the middle here. Yeah. Really tempted to throw them over here. If that makes sense, right? To toss them in kind of a push towards Kharkov. Don't know that I want them going down this rail line necessarily. So let's do this. Let's get Where's the rail being repaired? Okay, so if we can get all of the 62nd Army to these hexes where it's green, then we can use rail transport. Yep, here's what we're going to do. So the 66th Army, we are going to move right about here. I do have a question if I move them to Ornez or if I move them here. I think I will have better luck if I move them right here. So we're going to do that. So 62nd Army is going right up here. This is going to take a while for all of these guys to move across the map. Again, you can change the speed at which your ships move through each hex. It's something I keep forgetting to do, and honestly isn't a big deal unless we're in situations like this where we're moving entire fronts of our army. I mean, that is not a common occurrence by any stretch of the imagination, so it's probably okay as is. It's just something to think about for future episodes where we do have so much going on. And one more unit in this stack, and then we're probably going to have 2 or 3 more of these to do. At the very least, there's lovely sound effects for the trains moving. Okay. So then we're going to take this stack. And are you not on a suitable rail hex right now? Is that the issue? Let's move you here. And then rail. Well, shoot. Yes, we're just going to have to move you guys up to here. This is really going to start to hurt our supply situation in some of these areas, but there's no way around it, really. I'm going to check once all of these are here if maybe 1 or 2 of these units doesn't have enough to keep going. Yeah, and I think I'd rather just keep them all in one stack than start splitting them up there. So that's fine. Are you all part of the 62nd Army? No, there's one of you that are part of the 64th sitting there, so we're going to move you south. You were part of the 62nd, so we'll move you here. And then rail movement. What? Let's move you here. Looks like I've exhausted too many of my movement points, maybe. So let's skip you guys. Let's bring you to this rail line. Make a stack of 3. Gonna move you guys this way. Although it might be faster to go here, I'm trying to split the load in terms of how much we're using on just one of these routes on the rail. So that way we're not completely killing the infrastructure just of this pipe. Okay, and then let's toss you here. Take this stack. Nope, never mind. Actually gonna build you guys up. Then we have the rifle corps there. You part of the same HQ that I want? Yeah, 62nd Army, 62nd Army. Okay. So, I effectively have one more stack to move that's still stuck in Stalingrad. So I need to remember next turn to take them, get them on the rail, get them moved over here. I think this brings us now to our last HQ unit that we have here. Gosh darn it, you were part of the 64th Army, weren't you? Okay. In the 64th Army, we're just going to move, not on the rail, but the normal route down here. Do I have a rail? No, sorry. I got too excited because I saw movement points on a rail icon. We're just moving the 64th Army out of Stalingrad here. They're going to be nice and slow. Get all of these guys up. All right. There we go. And you, yeah, you're just stuck there for another turn. Okay, I think that does it for our ground movement phase. What do you know? It's been a while since we've talked about the theater boxes. We've been staying green in the Far East and in the Transcaucasus front. The Northern theater box continues just to be short in terms of its naval assets, which we're just going to be okay with. Ground and air, we're actually, I feel like these numbers are increasing, which may be a result of the Axis player taking forces off of that front. So that's all good news. Look at the Transcaucasus region, it continues to grow. Same theory there. And looking at the Far East, exact same situation. So I think that's all very good news for us. What I wanted to do was to actually look at our reserve theater box, though. And to look here, and you see that we now have these 2 HQ units. And we've had, if we look at our withdrawals and reinforcement schedule, we've actually had a couple of Tank Army HQs, and I think we have 2 more still to come that are coming into our reserve theater box. And if you remember, we were running into a lot of difficulty where we have armies, especially down here by Idritsa, where we just have more units than we have command capacity. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to deploy the Tank Army to the map, the first Tank Army, and then I think we're going to look to see about taking these tank corps that we have and actually deploying them to the map as well. So we're going to deploy these tank corps to the map, and then they will be the foundation for our new first Tank Army. And then we will also take elements that are currently part of the Idritsa kind of spearhead movement and attach to them a first army as well. I also have all of these mechanized brigades down here, and I actually want to go to our build menu, and I actually want to build a new unit, and I want to do mechanized corps. So that's going to take a couple of these mechanized brigades to produce a mechanized corps. So we're going to build one. We see that's converted those 2. And we're going to build another and one more. So now we should find ourselves with 3 mechanized corps. And when we look at these guys, their TOE is still working up. So I'm going to leave them as is with refit on. Or did I turn it off? I think I just turned it off. Yeah, okay, so refit's on. And I'm going to let these guys refit and build up their strength. So then we can eventually deploy them as mechanized corps. And I think that should really help when we look at saying, okay, well, what do we do with the second Tank Army and what units will they have? And on that note, we're going to go back to the build screen and see, okay, can we build additional tank brigades that will then allow us to build tank corps? So I'm going to increase this number to, let's do 9, see if we have enough for that. All right. So we're going to build 9 tank brigades. And then those should show up here. So they're built. Do we need to maybe refresh the screen? Maybe they show up next. Oh no, here they are. Forgive me. tank brigades right here. We got 9 of them, just added a row and I didn't notice it. And then as these build up, we can then turn those into 3 tank corps by the time the second army is ready to deploy. So we've had some stuff going on there with our reserve theater box, and again with our reinforcements and transfers. So you see the second tank army came this turn. I believe the first came the previous turn. And then we have, well, the first tank army is actually us deploying it to the map. But then we have the 5th Guards tank army coming to the Soviet reserves next turn as well. So we've got a lot of action happening here. Here are the 4 tank corps that we just deployed to the map, so they're going to arrive next turn. I think they're all going to arrive in Moscow. Yes, they are. So that's useful, that they're all going to arrive in Moscow. The last thing that I wanted to touch on before we're going to have to hit end turn here is a suggestion that was pointed out by Misha in the video comments, and that was, as he was noting some of my difficulty in finding the rail repair units, he pointed out to me that if you click in an empty hex, and on your keyboard, if you hit Control 9, it will actually highlight on the map in red each hex that is a rail repair unit. And what he also pointed out is there's multiple shortcuts for these types of highlights. And the other one I really liked was you can again click in an empty hex and do Control 3, and it highlights armor, any armored fighting vehicle units that are on the map. And I thought what was really telling when I had this view on was you look here and look at how the Germans have deployed such a concentration of armor to stop our push towards Adritsa. And then just like we talked about in the previous episode, we took our concentration of armor here near Smolensk and then used it to push through. So it's this tug of back and forth, right, of where these are positioned on the front line. And I think this is a good visualization to see the impacts that armor is having on the front line, and how versatile they can be to not only reallocate themselves to different portions of the front quickly, but also to take advantage of a situation and quickly break through towards an objective. So I was really happy to see those suggestions come through. And again, I really appreciate it when you guys add that stuff to the comments, because then not only do I get to see it, and I get to learn a little bit more about the game without having to reread the manual a couple of times, but it also makes it a little more public and visible for our other viewers to see those suggestions as well. And as a community coming together, I think we can really learn a lot about this game. So what I'm going to do now is zoom in. We're going to allow AI depot management, and then we're going to end the turn, which will end up being a very long episode. But I think we've accomplished everything we are looking to do at the end of turn 14. So now we hit end turn, and we're going to let this cycle through a bunch of air resupply. I'm going to try to speed it up by closing out of each of those battle summaries, which not really battles since they're just air resupplies. And here we have the AI logistics phase for the German player. Following that, we'll get to see their air execution phase and ground phase. And I'm really nervous about what they do in the south near Rostov and whether or not they push back some of those units. I am very hopeful that they will be conservative, they will withdraw further, and look at how they can put up some type of defense of Stalino, if any. But I look at the map situation down there and I go, they might not even have an option to try to defend Stalino. They may have to just keep retreating to find a better spot to hold the line, which would be really good news for us. I also think that there is a slight risk that near Adritsa, where we're trying to push through towards the Riga objective, I think they might have a couple of hexes there where if they amass their concentrations of armor they have on that front line, they might be able to really weaken some of our units that we're not able to get in quite as defensible positions as others by the end of the turn. We now see that they're moving into their air execution phase, and I'm also going to be curious to see if they do anything more than recon this turn, as the weather has continued to be sufferable. But it looks like it is just recon based off the number of sorties that they've flown by day 3. So, and really just one operational loss actually is pretty good numbers there from what they've had. Although I think they've really suffered in terms of attrition, because I think in the previous turn they had about 100 sorties with 17 losses. So I wonder if this half number isn't necessarily a conscious decision, but more so a all that they have left type of environment. We now see they're moving into their ground execution phase and their movement phase, and this is where we cross our fingers, guys. So looks like we managed to hold here, and this is over by Rostov. They pushed us back here. I actually wasn't expecting up here to have them be counterattacking, but they are. Oh no, we got pushed back here as well with the 2nd Guard Army. That's disappointing to see. Oh, they're really coming after us here. Look at this. So we held there. Artillery unit was forced to retreat. Look at how they broke through the line here. That's really aggressive from their point of view, because they've left then nothing here, so we're going to see where they reallocate their forces. Yeah, all along this front here in Rostov, they're trying to push us back. Which is fair. We have admittedly known we have been very aggressive, right? So this was almost expected that this would happen. But I'm kind of excited now seeing some of this to see how we might be able to take advantage of this situation that they've given us. Near Smolensk, they did push us back. Again, kind of expected. We got very aggressive with that mechanized force. Near Orel, again, they pushed us back. Not to be too surprised there. We managed to hold, and it looks like they brought up a Panzer division to try to counterattack our flank. So we weren't able to hold that hex. 2 infantry divisions and a panzer division. I don't know where they came from because I did not see these. Oh, look what they've done. They moved them from the north of the line down south to try to relieve Orel. That's what they did. Curious. That might present a very interesting opening for us. Okay, so here they've pushed back our cavalry unit, which now leaves this mechanized unit really exposed, but they held the first attack. And that mechanized unit needs to hold to be able to ensure that we can get enough reinforcements up here to really keep Rostov encircled. But it looks like our guys are holding the line and doing a good job, but we're going to have to break through here next turn, because right now our mechanized unit is really isolated all by itself out here. Wow, that was some pretty intense action. I think that was the most counterattacks we've seen from the German player in about 5 or 10 turns. There was a lot of action in this turn, which is going to be a lot of fun to go back and review. So I'm really looking forward to the next 2 episodes to see exactly what all of those results were. We'll go through this pretty quickly, so that way we can get to our turn summary, do a quick recap there, and then close everything out for the episode. About halfway through the AI logistics phase for ourselves, as it's sitting there doing all the calculations for production, movement to different reinforcement pools, depots, all of these different things. 60% now. This is the closest that you can get outside of a turn, not turn-based game, outside of kind of a 4X that says, I want to do one more turn. Right, is sitting here and having gone through and seen all of those actions the Germans did. You just want to keep playing to find out what were all the results and dive deep into it. But we have to close out this episode as we're now well over an hour. 73% done with the logistics phase. Almost there. I think it went up to 78 and back down to 75. I don't know that I've seen that before. Doing a quick save. All right. Friendly losses. 62,000. We were down to 50 the previous turn. 1,200 guns. 500 armored fighting vehicles. For guns and armored fighting vehicles, those might be the highest numbers we have seen. Honestly, they might be. Only 9 airframes lost, though, so that is excellent news. And despite all of these losses we had with armored fighting vehicles and gun platforms, we see that in net total, our order of battle was positive 23,000 men, positive 550 gun platforms, positive 226 armored fighting vehicles, and positive 157 airframes. Now, compare that to the Axis player, where they were pretty much flat or negative on every metric. This is that whole initiative and the turning tide of the war that we're looking at here, right? Where it's just, we have so many reinforcements and so much being produced in our factories that we can simply outpace them at this point. And the thing that we have to worry the most about is exactly what happened last turn, where there were severe counterattacks that took great advantage of our defensive weaknesses in the line and may expose further threat. So that's the turn summary. 91 low supply units, again up from 80. The turn before that it was 70. So supply situation's getting a little tough, but I have expected that. I've expected that for two reasons. One, we find ourselves moving entire armies from one side of our front to the other, which is going to drain the supply situation, but also put pressure on the rail networks to how much freight they can deliver. The second reason is we have moved our entire southern front more than 100 miles in advance towards Stalino in the last two turns, which is just going to exhaust a ton of supply. So that was all expected, right? Let's take a look at news events here. The mighty 8th Air Force continues their bombardment of the German homeland, which has damage to heavy industry and rail yards, and Soviet partisans continue, something we've seen as a familiar theme each turn. Well, with that, guys, we're going to close out this episode. Want to thank you as always for giving the series and the video a view and a watch. I do hope you continue to enjoy these. Should you have any questions, feedback, or comments for me or the channel or the game, please leave them in the comments section. I'll do my best to address anything you've got there. And just want to say, have yourselves a great day, strategy gamers. Bye now.